Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
Hey, good morning, or good afternoon, or good day. Hey, my name's Alex. I co-run a Seattle Mariners podcast called Endless Summer. We like to talk about how the Mariners are doing badly generally, and just talk baseball in general. Outside of that, I love video games, and so I was kind enough to be asked to come and share a little. Matt asked me, and I'm excited. I want to share why Red Dead Redemption 2 is such a special game to me. I think for me, Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of the most complete stories I've ever experienced, be it visual media such as like games and movies, written media, books and manga and comics and stuff. And he's one of the most complete stories, has one of the best main characters ever. Arthur Morgan is complete. He is flawed, compassionate, arrogant. He's really a whole complete character, and probably one of the more dynamic characters I've seen in media. Like I said, I truly connected with this story and this game because for me at the time, I don't know why, I was just feeling kind of lost and trying to find something to grasp onto in terms of be it games, be it something to take my mind off of work at the time. And it really just hit the spot. There's something about just being in that world. And I don't usually like Rockstar Games. I usually gravitate more towards games that are more linear sometimes, more, I would say, be it linear or be it more of a role-playing game, more melodramatic story. And so something to be as gripping and I would say raw as this story is, really just it kind of took me in, and it does one of my favorite things in pretty much all media, which is it starts in the middle of things, right? It starts just bang, right from the get-go, you're in the middle of something big, and I love that because I think one of my biggest complaints with any game is if you start where you haven't established, where you have to kind of establish what things are and what things are doing. The fact that this game already, you come in and you kind of get the vibe of how these characters interact right from the get-go. I love it, and I think it's so great. I think it's one of the best openings in a game of all time, just because it really sets the tone and the pace of the game. And granted, I will say there are points of which this game does drag, and there are definite gameplay aspects that don't make sense, especially given when it came out. It was there are points of the game where you're like, I want to do it a different way, and the game is like, absolutely not, how dare you. And for an open world game, that's kind of weird, especially after Breath of the Wild, a game that not for me, has some true creative freedom to it. But for what I really came into this game wanting, I got, which was a character story that also talked about this kind of found family. And I think one of the things that I really liked about it was it showed the challenge of a found family, and it showed the issue that you have when you deal with people who have come together out of hardship, just themselves, and how that in itself can cause tension and strife. I don't know. There's something about this game that really drove me and pushed me to think about things differently. And like I said, I loved being on horseback and exploring the world, just being able to ride and interact with people, getting accidentally shooting people in the face because I, for some reason, held the right trigger and then tried to talk to someone because they put greet people on L2 instead of any of the face buttons. So, oops. I can continue to go on, but I think I've really made my point. And I think ultimately what for me this game is, it's a true character study. To me, it's a game that harkens to the conversations that we have around The Sopranos, Breaking Bad, The Americans, these character studies of families and flawed families and found families, and discussing how they all together kind of commingle and interact, and seeing these different dynamics. And I think that it just does such a good job with it. You know, you've got Charles, you've got Strauss, you've got obviously Dutch, you've got, you know, like I just know him as Lumbago. You've got, you know, obviously John, Sadie. Sadie is one of the best characters. I would love Red Dead Redemption 3 to follow Sadie. I really love the way that they address so much about this. Not address. I think I love so much of the way that the characters feel a part of this world, and it's so clearly a discussion to, you know, times changing, to, you know, not only the times changing, people changing, to paranoia, to biting off more than you can chew. You know, it's got all these things. It's got, you know, the corruption of, I guess it really talks to that Bible verse, which is weird that I'm thinking about it, but, you know, for the love of money is the root of all evil. And I really think that this is one of the ways that, you know, I mean, obviously there's I'm rambling because I tend to do that when I get exuberant about something. You know, Dutch constantly is like, we need more money. And it constantly is going to that where you start to realize that Dutch isn't talking about needing more money to get away, to be safe, to go to Tahiti of all places. It is to simply say that Dutch wants more money to want more money, and that's his drive, and it just leads him down this weirdly bizarre long road. And I think ultimately that's an interesting tale, and it's a tale of a, you know, I think when you first start that game, you see a broken man, and I don't think it goes I don't think the game trends upward from there. But yeah, you know, I think this game is something that I truly adore. I think it's an experience that hopefully everyone can have, be it playing it, watching it. I know that can be controversial at times, but I truly think that this is a game that's cinematic enough that if you watch someone play it, you would get a lot. I love it. I hope you do too. I hope you get a chance to play it. And yeah, I think that's about it. So I bid you all farewell. Thank you, and happy gaming.
Can you believe we've been friends for 7 years?
And it all started because I compared you to Alana the Lioness.
Tamara Pierce really set the tone of our friendship.
A love of magic,
Briar Moss,
fantasy,
Briar Moss,
powerful women, and of course,
Briar Moss. I'm Anna.
And I'm MJ.
And we invite you to join our Circle of Friendship,
where we do a chapter-by-chapter deep dive into the Circle of Magic series by Tamara Pierce.
We answer important questions like, how does Moonstream let certain dedicates take care of children?
Can you imagine anyone else but Mandy Patinkin playing Nico?
Knives, Briar?
And
knives?
Join us every other Monday at cofpodcast.libsyn.com or wherever you download podcasts.
But seriously, knives?
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.